right, welcome back. You are still tuned into Funtastic Fridays, and we're in the segment called Talk the Ting with Kim. And if it is that you're just joining, we're currently discussing the importance of building your self-esteem, right? So just in case you missed it, so far we've defined self-esteem. So far we've spoken both about having high self-esteem and low self-esteem. So that's still in the section that we are right now. But I really hope that even a part of this has connected you guys. As I said, every week we're always trying to encourage and build each other. I feel like enough negativity is out there in the world, so I'm trying to do my little part to affect change somewhere, somehow. All right, and this is one of them. So the last thing we spoke about was low self-esteem and ways that low self-esteem can be reflected. You know, for example, putting other people's needs before your own, struggling with confidence, having trouble saying no, setting boundaries, having trouble accepting positive feedback. Even when somebody encourage you, it not work because you already just don't see it possible for yourself. You realize that it just really not going to help you in life. That's why I believe, as it said earlier, having a high self-esteem is linked to having a happy and successful life, right? So let's go back now to overly high self-esteem.
All right.
This is often mislabeled as narcissism, but remember, mislabeled as narcissism.
English.
Right? However, there are some distinct traits that differentiate these terms. Individuals with narcissistic traits may appear to have high self-esteem, but the truth is that their self-esteem may be high or low or even unstable, and it is constantly shifting depending on the situation. So now, this now is not like a set, as you said earlier. You know, if high self-esteem is linked to narcissism, for narcissists, they fluctuate. It depends on situation. So it's not like they're always having a high self-esteem. You may not always see it because some of them don't show it, but the way, the actions that they show or whatever they decide to display themselves comes from various levels of self-esteem, right? It's not in a set way. And we know that Miss Ebony have a little psychological background, so she can correct me or teach me. I'm always willing to learn. Do you second that high self-esteem is not necessarily narcissism?
Yes.
And that narcissism can probably be, their self-esteem can be all over the place?
Correct. Narcissism is normally a front half the time. It's people who have a lot of self-doubt, self-inflicted wounds, and it comes out towards others as narcissism.
Exactly. So it's not exactly the same thing. And yeah, guys, she have the paper for sure. She know our teams on a research, on a retreat like me. She legit.
So basically they're kind of actors.
Yes.
But stick out about it. Now she made a statement, and I believe it still is valid, where this belief you can fake it till you make it. Can't you fake
Yourself.
Exactly what you want until you achieve
but
it?
But what she just spoke about with narcissism is not faking it till you make it. You're just always faking it.
Because
you're not making it. Narcissism isn't really something you should be proud of.
Exactly.
First and foremost, that should not be something you should be proud of. Narcissism is like a cloud that comes over someone else's life when you have it in you. And as soon as you bring it into someone else's life, it turns into them getting low self-esteem, them getting,
because it's basically putting somebody down. Their aim as a narcissist person is saying, I am higher than you.
Correct.
So I'm putting you down.
I am bringing my insecurities.
So it doesn't matter where their self-esteem is, right? It can be low, it can be medium, it can be high. That's not the constant. The constant thing is their reaction onto somebody else, and that part we're not support.
Fake it until you make it is totally different.
Two different things, right? So those with excessively high self-esteem may be preoccupied with being perfect. So they're so focused on being perfect. May also focus on always being right. So nobody can tell them nothing because them understand life, right? So no better come correct. They also believe they can't fail. So even when the failure, them face, apparently that's not me failing, that was me showing you that I can do what you do. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Or they probably find an excuse. I'm not used to this environment.
Exactly, and
you
something
guys
else
don't have the proper
this.
Equipment here.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm used
they'll
to
blame everything else except them.
This is regular water. I don't use regular water.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
No accountability.
Exactly. No accountability, and may believe that they are more skilled or better than others, right, in everything. They also may grossly overestimate their skills and abilities. So when self-esteem is too high, it can result in relationship problems, as we said earlier, difficulty with social situations because people find it hard to deal with you, and an inability to accept criticism. So you can't talk to somebody who's full of themselves, because nothing you have to say can change them or influence them, you know?
But for these people, Kimmie, they would be having that, what you call it now, crash and burn syndrome, for example, when they realize at some point they might be faced with the truth, right?
Yeah,
and they realize they are not too, as high and mighty as they think they are.
Exactly, and that is why I believe, especially, let's say, for example, people who face a major change in life. Let's say they were in that position where they were high and probably had their status to back it. When they do fall and realize that all of that was just a show, or all of that was just
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, smoke and mirrors. They tend to go into depression or the low self-esteem, because eventually you can realize you're not all that's on a bag of chips.
Right, it's not all.
Or there's somebody better than you, so you might think that you're the best, and then you realize somebody's out there better than you. The other day I read something and it was saying that every record will eventually be broken. Every record. So even though you probably fool yourself and say, yo, I have the world record, one day nobody not gonna know your name.
Well,
I'm just saying you can, but still, humility in the midst of it.
Yeah, I understand.
Right? Because it doesn't mean that you will forever have the record.
One day you will fade into the background.
One day you will.
You see, at 100 trying to run 100.
So right now, we just spoke about the low self-esteem and the high self-esteem. So now there are some simple ways to tell if you have a healthy self-esteem.
All right, talk to me, Kimmie.
So you probably have a healthy self-esteem if you, number one,
no Lionel Bernard.
I'm not gonna comment on that one.
I like you guys.
What crossed my mind a while ago. All right, so number one, you avoid dwelling on past negative experiences. Your man's couple too well.
That rough when I try to say.
Just step on a while ago. Even no toe is safe in here.
If you lie down now, do nothing. These are the thoughts that come in. Remember 3 grade, they drop the ruler. What?
So that's one sign of having a healthy self-esteem. You don't focus on negative past experiences. You believe you are equal to everyone else, no better or no worse than anybody. How much are we can truly say that?
That rough, Kimmie, that rough.
How much are we can
truly
say that?
We're equal to?
We're equal, so we're not less than anybody, and we're not better than anybody.
Gems.
How much are we can say that though?
Like quarter of us,
No better.
I mean, not quarter of the group, no.
Not many
1
people
quarter
can say
of
that.
each of us.
Right? You are also able to express your needs. So that was one of the things we touched on earlier, right? Knowing your needs is one thing, being able to express it is another thing, because as we've realized, especially like you point out in relationships, lots of times all of us settle and we don't even, there are things we want, but we probably feel we can't get better, or we feel like we hit the jackpot because probably let's say the person look really good and you're like, oh my god, I want this person. The person probably don't offer nothing else, don't contribute to your growth, don't do nothing else, and you have more needs than being with somebody who's attractive. But you're afraid to say that because you probably already feel like the world envy you because the girl look good or the man look good or something, but nothing else is there, right? So being able to express your needs, as simple as it sounds, is a sign of healthy self-esteem, right? Okay. You feel confident and you have a positive outlook on life. That's a sign of healthy self-esteem. So even when the rain clouds come and the problems happen, you still find that silver lining. That is a sign of healthy self-esteem, because other people use those things to bury themselves, like this whole grey cloud. So they have one bad day now, and all of a sudden them depressed for the week because boy, something just went wrong. You know?
So they're not like, oh well, at least you stand and you're walking. I'm like, well, at least it's not raining.
Right. Basically, you turn around your perspective. So it's not that you are negating, because I think some people think that pretending that the bad things didn't happen is the key, and that's not the key.
No, we're not really into the pretending
exactly,
business.
because most people feel like, okay, silver lining means that you're acting like nothing bad happened. No, you know something bad happened.
You're looking on a better picture.
You're not living there.
Yeah, one sentence or one phrase that actually can be applied is that there's so much to be grateful for. So, as I say, you walk, your shoes heel drop off.
laugh.
You know what I'm saying? You have like 2 more shoes at home, most likely, you know.
Rubber band it up
Yeah,
and
you have
keep
a lot of person. You're actually out doing something, probably at work you come
then
from.
that,
You
you
have
did
a
have
job,
shoes.
you know what I'm saying?
You did have shoes.
Yeah, and it can probably fix.
And it can fix.
You know, so
And you
a
probably
lot
have
of
the money to
things
do so.
give thanks for,
You
be
know?
grateful
My
for. So
shoe
it's the
came
outlook.
off
Cause you have
party.
You have people who don't have shoes or have
You
10
laugh.
shoes
My
and will
shoe
still
came
cry
off
when one
at a
breaks.
party.
And it's just the mindset.
And you know what I did?
What?
I took off the other one. It just
So you became muta for a day.
I didn't take the shoes heel came off and I just ripped it off and I ripped off the other one and I put back my foot in the slippers.
So you went from heels to flats? That's fine.
and I
Heels to
kept it pushing.
flats.
I didn't care. They
I
were
guess
looking
so.
at my
Her
foot.
self-esteem was
Nice,
still
yeah.
on a
And I
same
was
level.
dancing,
Okay.
and then you know my regular dance and sleep, and I ate, and I drank juice
And some more.
And that's
Right?
all you ate and drank juice without the heels.
without the. I don't
There
know
you
where
go.
they are.
See
So
that
another sign of healthy self-esteem is that you say no when you want to, right?
Wow.
Another one.
know when
Say
you
no
want
when you
It's
want.
rough.
When you say no
A lot of
when
people
you want to.
hiding quietly and just going through the day. Alright, we're gonna go here so next.
You don't really want to go. You don't really want to go,
Yo.
right? Like, imagine that, a night out with your friends, and everybody's like, "Yo, we're touch road
3
again."
o'clock. Where's the next spot?
Yeah. Are you there for
Yeah,
hours?
Oh, okay, alright.
Alright, because you don't want to be the odd one out,
Yeah.
or you don't want to be the Debbie Downer.
You don't want to be
right?
the
So that's one
party poo-
example. But
Debbie
you know you're
Downer.
good for your bed.
Yeah.
Debbie Downer, yes, I said that.
Party pooper.
Right? And then another one is that you see your overall strengths and weaknesses and accept them. Right? So that's another sign of having healthy self-esteem. You see your strengths and you see your weaknesses. I mean, no, I can't sing, and I accept it.
Yeah.
Don't mean I won't occasionally sing.
Some
Right.
high notes.
Or the notes hit me.
Don't mean you go out and
Right,
tell
or
everybody
the
that you're
notes
the
hit
best
me.
you're ever gonna be.
No, I never brag that.
Right, that's
but
what I'm saying.
the notes might
Double up
hit me.
and then-
Because, yeah.
Because y'all have seen some notes hit me on air,
Mm.
right?
Correct.
But exactly. But the reality is we all can't be perfect at everything, and we all can't have the same skills, right? All we have different strengths and weaknesses. You feel comfortable expressing your opinions even if they are different from those around you. So that's another thing, and this happens especially in friends. The whole
Yeah,
friend and
Kim.
company
Friend
thing.
group.
Peer pressure.
That's something there.
Influence.
You have to have the same
Exactly. You might
mentality.
know,
and
so you
because we're in the same group, because I say yes and I believe that everybody should wear Crocs every day. That means everybody
Jada and
should wear
Crocs.
Now,
Yes, Evan.
my question is, right? What if there could be like a supreme negative to sharing your own point of view in that? So like if you're in danger and you share your own point of view,
I mean,
like what kind of situation would you say?
in
that
a life-threatening
Well, you
situation,
know, if it's a
I
life-threatening
don't
thing,
think
I'm gonna defend
self-esteem
my
is going to
life.
be your
I'm not
concern
thinking
there.
about my self-esteem.
No,
I'm not gonna die with a high self-esteem.
Give me them $50 shoes you got on,
Someone
sir.
was
These
asking-
shoes are $100. You know what I'm saying?
Someone was
You're not
asking
gonna
if I
bring
was-
me
if I
down,
was
no.
willing to share my opinion in regards to something that's controversial worldwide, right?
Yeah.
But the controversy that it has is very like violent in certain ways. So if I were to share my opinion in a group where the violence would peak, I wouldn't want to do that.
No, and that's fair.
No, I mean-
If I did, I'd share it and leave.
No,
Yeah.
I mean those
Share it and leave.
those situations that you're speaking of now, you're coming to
Maybe
a
more
thing.
extreme.
You're coming to a thing where you already know and understand where you stand. So now it's basically a matter of ethics. For example, if you're doing something at work, and you know, probably let's say for example, you have a 7-day Adventist person, and they say, okay, they want you to do something at work on a Saturday. You know, your church wouldn't agree with
against
it.
your values.
But you know, sometimes you might say, okay, I'm going to take this one opportunity because it's a big opportunity, and you go ahead and do the situation just because of work. Yeah, you understand, okay, I'm putting this sacrifice behind here. You're making a step that you won't necessarily take, but it's for the job because you don't want to lose your job in a sense. You get me? So it's a matter of ethics.
So it's not necessarily a pretend.
Yeah,
that,
you're not
that
pretend.
scenario,
You
but
know what you're
realize
doing.
that
You
if
know, but you have taken decision not to because
Yeah.
you have saying that
Exactly.
it might not have the desired outcome that you were expecting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? You're at risk at the
You
end
are
of the
at
day.
risk.
But
So-
then if it
so-
becomes a repeated thing now, that's where
Oh,
you'll start to
right.
lose yourself.
Look at y'all dropping gems. Look
Alright.
at you.
Tune in every Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Growth.
Yeah.
Right? Another sign is that you don't let challenges hold you back. So you don't make one little hiccup mash up the whole plan. You know, one little hiccup and you just say, boy, That's it. That's it.
I hate that.
I hate that. I'm gonna try. What did you try something else? Even though the straight road was blocked by, let's say, one car or something, did you reroute? Did you try another method? Did you ask questions? Did you try to figure out, okay, will this vehicle no longer be here? You know, don't just give up, right?
Listen to me, I tell you, these situations, you know, let me see. Oh, well, see, Jesus said, no working on the Sabbath, forget the job. God first. Trust me, at the end of the day, people gonna make different decisions.
Exactly.
Some will still hold for it, but others will make this. I mean, a different time, and them say time and things and so on. A lot of things to go from that. But I remember a situation, as I said, my sister, she said she want to go to a place and she wear a fancy dress, and then she realized that probably, let's say, for example, by 7 p.m., she vexed and I said, what go on? She said, me never get to take a picture of the dress, my night ruined, may I go back home? I'm like, okay.
You had a good night.
I'm like, people were already out, everybody is here, we're coming to celebrate. Here's an idea for you. You can put the dress on back in the morning, take a picture next to a similar wall. Nobody will know what time the photo was taken. So please continue to enjoy your night. Because, as I said, one thing don't mean that the entire thing mash up.
And that's why they always say most times it's not a bad day, it's a bad 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then we just stretch it.
Oh, but much of the whole day because of one bad thing.
We plug out everything, we never continue and make it get back better. We prefer to sulk.
For me, it has to be like 2 things in a row, like consecutive.
Even then,
you know how high the probability is of 2 things happening badly in a row.
It happened last year on my birthday, and I cried. So big up good friends for that.
To were able to get you to continue through the day, because you could have gone home, go ball the rest of the night, no?
I sat down
and them have to fight you to stay and enjoy yourself.
And they're like, listen, we come from far.
See that? See the speech?
And we're here, and the whole whatever. And
so you had to be pushed
and whatever.
No, man, that wasn't motivation. That was bad up. We come from far. That was where.
You know who gave me the bad up?
Motivation comes in different forms.
But me come from far, right?
Yeah.
But
we're not doing this.
Another one is don't let a setback change how you feel about yourself. Right? So once again, it leads back to the whole thing of if a challenge come, you just throw the whole plan, right? So all of a sudden one thing happen and you just change your whole mindset. You feel like the worst person or the lowest person or unworthy, you know?
Yeah, I'm not about to start a business.
Yeah. So that's another sign of high self-esteem. And the last one is you're willing to set boundaries with people who don't value and respect you. And this ties back to the conversation we had about boundaries.
Healthy self-esteem.
The healthy self. Well, we had a whole conversation, guys. If it is that you missed
Setting
it,
boundaries.
it is over on our YouTube channel.
They're not supposed to miss anything because they're supposed to be following.
This is the motivation that you are getting from your friends.
AKA bad up. But just in case you did, we record every single one of these conversations, and one of them about setting boundaries and understanding why it's necessary. We have that over there. So we're not even going to expound too much into that. Go and go check out that video there, right? So having a healthy self-esteem can help motivate you to reach your goals because you're able to navigate life knowing that you are capable of accomplishing what you set your mind to. Additionally, when you have healthy self-esteem, you are able to set appropriate boundaries in relationships and maintain a healthy relationship with yourself and others. So, since we are encouraging you to have a high self-esteem, I'm going to touch on 1 and 2 things because I see that we're running out of time, right? But high self-esteem means generally holding yourself in positive regard. This doesn't mean you love everything about yourself, and this is what I was touching on earlier. It does not mean that you love everything about yourself, and it doesn't mean that you are perfect. On the contrary, even for those with high self-esteem, it's common to be self-critical and have some parts of yourself that you are less proud of or happy with than other elements. However, if you have a high self-esteem, the positive thoughts about yourself outweigh the negative. So it don't mean say you don't have negative thoughts, you know. Just it's not that serious in your book, because you know say no human is perfect. And so you accept them and you work with them and say, boy, I know say my thing is I'm not really good with analyzing things or figures or whatever. And you're okay with that.
I mean, you know, you
beat up yourself.
You know your big toe shape weird, but you love it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I have a belly.
You have a belly and you're like, you know what, fine, I can do something.
No, well, we can get healthy.
You know? No, but
sometimes you need to consider health. Yeah, you can't consider. No, but that's what I'm saying. You can't just throw the big belly out there. Ensure that you are keeping healthy, because some of them, because I say, I think they mentioned that, earlier and other. Yeah.
So the positive thoughts outweigh the negative, and the negative doesn't make you discount your worth as a person. So you don't think you're less than because of the things that aren't going right for you, right? High self-esteem can also fluctuate depending on the circumstance. Those circumstances will change how you feel. By the end of the day, come back to the high self-esteem. Come back to being okay with what didn't go right, and just basically refocus. Go back to the drawing board and figure it out, right? So to wrap it up, high self-esteem is key to life satisfaction. For some, this frame of mind comes easily because some people just naturally have it. For others, it's more of a struggle. Luckily, wherever you may be on the self-esteem spectrum, you can work on improving your vision, support, compassion, and love of yourself. After all, the relationship you have with yourself may ultimately be the one that matters most. It gives you resiliency, confidence, kindness, motivation, and love that informs the rest of your life and helps you to be the best person you can be.
All right. I love it.
So overall, guys, work on the self-esteem. Saying all this don't mean that all of us in here have it together and we have it figured out. I'm telling you, I'm working on this, right? And it doesn't happen overnight, but you see, if you decide to work on it, you can get there, right? So work on having that high self-esteem. I think the most important part of the whole conversation is that it doesn't mean that you're perfect or you see yourself as perfect. It means that you still have your flaws, you still have your weaknesses, you still have your down days, but you don't make none of that change your value, your worth, or even your outlook on life. You decide to say, you know what, fine, something happen, but life don't end. Once you have life, once you have breath, them always say, you can always make changes, you can always do something different. Just look at it that way and work on that self-esteem. So this is a part one of a two-part conversation. I believe next week is going to be the importance of instilling self-esteem in your kids, because I believe starting from a younger age is very important.
Speak like
right?
your kids.
And ways to improve the self-esteem. So that's part 2.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Talk the Ting with Kimmie, Kim. Want to say big up to all our winners, all our participants in the show today. Congrats to 2 cute winner of our Don't Stress It, Just Guess It segment. Be sure to tune in next week. We got another great show for you. People, September morning now. Your book pack yet? Your shoes polish yet?
No, my book don't pack.
My book don't
because
pack.
my book cannot hold nothing.
What?
My book don't have no zip.
When them say you pack your book, don't.
You say if you
Turn
pack
you
it.
tell you, when your mother tell you, say if you pack your book, you tell say no, mommy, my book can't pack.
I can actually say
when
that
you wake
no.
up next
I
week,
can say that now.
I can say it no, but
Come on,
over
let's say.
WhatsApp.
when you
in
wake up
person.
next week, I realize I missed the first week of school. Cause anything mommy say, you better say you do it.
What you mean wake up next week? What you mean by next week?
Cause your mother make you say
No,
you get
sir.
knocked
What you
out.
mean more like Christmas?
No, she not make
With
you
the
miss a
back
whole
answer.
term in school. School fee pay already, I
That's
go
true,
school.
that's true.
Yeah. She
But
might
yes,
wake you up
we have parents.
by the second day.
But big up our guests as well, Daniel and Ebony in studio. We love the feedback, we love the insight, and guys, thank you all for staying tuned. We'll see you the next week again, same time, same place.
Big up to G First Gin. It's Nas. DJ Envy Stone. Mama knows J.A. Von I will. Large up yourself. Von
Everybody
say,
on the line.
Von say, I am bigger than my problems.
I
People,
love that.
have a
Gems.
fantastic weekend. Listen me. DJ Envy Stone, the resident, traveling, resident DJ.
Believing on myself, Gabby teach me in them speeches. Say without self-confidence, you will twice defeated. Believe me,
1410.
Rastafari. Now we upon nobody for tell me.